Happy Sunday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks pregame podcast. Blackhawks and Wild are going to face off in about a half hour in Minnesota. Thanks for being with us. I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Tirabassi. Sarah is running the show today, which we appreciate.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah. Yeah, what'd you do wrong? Why are you...
Well, that's how I always do my intro on the White Sox. I just say hi, and then I go back in my corner.
Yeah, it's usually the punishment to hang out with us. They clearly don't like Steven since he's here all the time with us. No, we're glad you're here, Sarah, and glad you're all here in the chat watching us on YouTube. Make sure you smash that like button for us and subscribe to the YouTube page. We would greatly appreciate that. Just get in the habit. Every time we pop on, hit that like button for us. Big news coming into today's game. Lukas Reichel will be scratched. Looks like Cole Gutman will be in his place. Reese Johnson back in the lineup. Louis Crevier will make his NHL debut with Nikita Zaitsev scratched, and Anthony Beauvillier still not available because of visa issues, because this is the NHL and it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yes. Two well-run organizations, the NHL and the U.S. government, can't get it done.
Yeah.
Surprising.
It's been a week.
I know. It's one of those things that it's out of your control, and you just shake your head at it. I feel very much like a Florida State fan right now.
Yeah, that's rough.
Equally as devastated that Anthony Beauvillier can't get his work visa and being knocked out of the college football playoffs.
Same level of national scrutiny as well.
Yes.
Not losing a game and not being in the title playoff. That's college football is dumb.
It is dumb. It is dumb. Fortunately, it's expanding to 12 teams next year.
Work visas are dumb. College football playoffs, equally dumb.
Yes. All right. Not dumb, as far as we know, as of this moment, is Luke Richardson. And he met the media this morning. There was not a morning skate. So before we get into the Reichel decision, which will be the vast majority of this show, let's hear Luke Richardson's justification for it and some other stuff before puck drop.
Peter's starting in net, and we have Louis Crevier coming in for his first game. We're just going to take Zaitsev out. We just think with him not playing a lot, we just didn't want to gas him out. I thought he played well yesterday, but we just thought just to get his feet under him, just to not have the back-to-back afternoon games. And Louis is playing well and ready to go. And then up front, we don't have Beauvillier available because of visa issues, and we're going to take Reichel out to watch tonight and put Reese back in up front, and we have Gutman available from injury. So those will be the forward groups.
What's the advice for Reichel?
Just to watch. I'm sure he's disappointed, but we need more from him, and sometimes a little extra push like this gets a player going, and we mentioned that this should be him when there's an opportunity like Beauvillier not available tonight. It should be him that has that opportunity tonight. So we're disappointed as well. So hopefully that'll just give him a little extra boost to get his legs going, a little bit of desperation in his game.
I think there's one stretch in third period where he was noticeable, but yesterday there wasn't many times where he had the puck or he just seemed like the passing was off. Is that concentration, or what do you
I'm not sure. I think some players just their confidence gets down for whatever reason, and they just get off of playing what makes them a good player. And I think sometimes you just have to take a step back and look and think about it and regroup and come back better and harder.
Do you think some fire maybe or some more emotion would help? This seems like the kind of thing that might inspire that.
Yeah, no, I think he plays when he plays with confidence. He seems to be have excellent bursts of speed, which we know that he has, and it's always used in the right direction. I think now he's kind of thinking a little bit instead of reacting and chasing the game, and then we don't see him very much, like you said, in the game. So. He needs to kind of maybe watch from above tonight and then come back with a little bit of fire, but also just regrouping mentally. So physically, he can just do his best.
Crevier was a healthy scratch late last season at Rockford. For him to come this far and be in the NHL, what's changed in that time?
I'm not sure. I think he had an excellent summer. He really worked on his strength, and his skating was noticeably better at training camp this year, and quickness. And sometimes guys, big, tall, long, lanky bodies, takes a little longer to catch up. Especially this last level of pro hockey. So, he's made some really good strides. He's a smart player. He plays under control out there, and I watched the game the other night, and noticeably he's in the way with his size and his good use of his reach and his stick. He's not afraid to block shots, and he just keeps it simple and moves the puck. So that's just the same message to him, is just to play his game, know who he is, and I'm sure he'll be fine out here tonight.
Is he playing with Tenorti?
We're not sure yet. We're going to probably rotate it around just because we don't have that last change on the road, and depending if it's an offensive zone and defensive zone face-off. But we expect to use him on the penalty kill because that's where he's good. And, hopefully he can give us an added boost there.
I was just going to say that might be the largest, tallest pairing in the league.
Yeah, they should be able to cover a lot of ground, especially in the penalty kill. So you just got to watch Zuccarello and Kaprizov not skating underneath the stick like they're that tall. But you know what? I think he was excited when we told him, and I'm expecting him just to have a little bit of that excitement out there. So maybe we can feed off of it as well as a team.
Are you hoping Bolivier is available next week? Do you have any sense?
I'm hoping. I think they were hoping Tuesday or Wednesday he'd be back into Chicago. But, it's on the weekend. You don't get a lot of answers from the government offices, so we have to wait. It's out of our control, his control. So, I thought he had some good chemistry, especially early in the game with that line. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that can take another step.
It's so dumb. The visa
yeah.
thing. It is the hill I'm going to die on, but we don't need to talk about that anymore.
No, what we need to do is we need to find someone who works in the office so they can actually explain it to us, so we don't get irrationally mad every time this happens.
Well, I'm
sure there's a good reason, but
then we'd have to, get a prompt response from someone in a governmental office.
There is a Chicago politician who is a massive Hawks fan, and 6 months ago I wrote him on Twitter and said, "Hey, my friend's having passport issues, and they handle it for me." So maybe
you need to be in charge.
Yeah,
I know.
you need to,
The next day she had her passport.
We just need to
so
get
maybe
you.
I need to.
The Blackhawks need to hire you to handle all these things.
Yes, and if you're a Hawks fan, you follow politics, you probably know who I'm talking about. He is a massive Hawks fan, and someone I know a little bit. So
was it Barack Obama?
It was not. It was someone slightly less significant than Barack Obama. Just ever so slightly, though. It was Michelle Obama. Okay, anyway. So Reichel's out, and we've been talking about this a lot this year, and I think yesterday's game, what he played like 11 and a half minutes, and when he was on the ice was barely visible.
Yeah.
He is just a non-factor offensively, and I saw Lebowski mention it in the chat saying, well, he's playing well, but just, his offense isn't there. He doesn't do anything else well enough to justify a roster spot right now. Like, he can't be an absolute zero offensively.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you can get that from Dave Boland. You can get that from Marcus Kruger because they're going to do – you could even get that from Jonathan Taves because they're going to do things elsewhere on the ice to help you. Mm-hmm. Reichel, no. The reason you justified moving him to center was you said, okay, we'll live with the defense because the offense will be worth it. With no offense, what does he bring you?
Yeah.
Right now, the answer is very little.
Yeah, you can't have him not producing offense. Like that is what he should be doing best. It's what made him a mid-round pick in the first round when he was drafted. It's what made him, one of the top prospects within the Blackhawks system instantly. It's what made him one of the, best players on the Ice Hogs the last 2 years that he's been there. If he's not producing offensively at the NHL level, he's not doing what he should be doing. And I think it's getting a little frustrating to watch him be a non-factor because he can do it. You've seen him do it at different levels. And the Blackhawks, they got him right into the lineup, gave him every opportunity this season so far to get jump-started, play on the top line with Bedard, play as a center, play as a wing, and nothing has jump-started it. And you start the season, you make the declaration, he's an NHL player. Okay, so you kind of take sending him down to Rockford off the table. So your next option is you either demote him, which does nothing, because putting him on the third line maybe putting him with Jason Dickinson might get him started, but putting him down on the third or fourth line does him nothing because that's not the kind of player he is. So your next option now is to have him watch from the sidelines. So hopefully this is a one and done kind of thing. Take a day off, reset. Take the messaging from Luke Richardson, like, we need more out of you, and if we're not going to get it, you're not going to play. And hopefully it can kind of reignite him, and we see a little bit more of what we saw last year from him. And if that's the result of this, then good. And if he comes back in the lineup and it's more of the same, then you start to get real concerned.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat saying bust, and I get where that's coming from, and
He's
I
not
get
a
the
bust.
frustration.
He's
but
not a bust.
You have to recognize, like, less than 60 games into his NHL career.
He's 21?
Yeah, we saw him with 15 points in 23 games to end last season with no talent on the ice around him. I'm not ready to call him a bust yet. Am I a little bit concerned? Yes, I'll be honest with you. I am a little bit concerned. I think he's an NHL player. I don't know what the ceiling is anymore. I don't know if he's going to be a 50, 60-point guy. I don't know. We've got to see what he can do. And someone else in the chat said he has to play with talented players. He spent 2 weeks with Connor Bedard.
Yeah, he had 2 weeks with Connor Bedard and only scored on the power play. He does not have a 5-on-5 goal yet this year.
Only 2 goals on the year
when he
anyway.
had that hot streak last year, he was playing with Andreas Athanasiou, not exactly NHL All-Star.
Right.
So he can do it. We've seen him do it.
I wonder.
Maybe he just needs Athanasiou back in the line.
When I watch him, I was kind of trying to watch it. Yesterday I had a little different perspective since I wasn't working. I was just watching the game a little differently. And I was trying to focus on him a little bit. And it's like he's doing things correctly by the book. Like if you were looking at like a video animated X's and O's, like there is a center and he is going to where the center is supposed to be. And then you know what I mean? Like he's going through the motions, but he's going through the motions. That's kind of how it seems. And I don't know if it's, and this was our concern with him playing center full time is the responsibility going to overwhelm him to the fact where the instinct will be torn away from him? I think I'm ready to punt on him being an NHL center. He's not big enough. He's not strong enough. Doggone it, people don't like him right now. I just think he's a winger, right? And maybe moving him to wing permanently and just saying, hey, you know what? Forget about the center stuff. We just want you to put the puck in the back of the net. Be a one-dimensional scorer and just do that.
Yeah.
Fine. We'll live with that.
Be Patrick Laine.
Yes, great. Just your job now, Lucas, is to put the puck behind the goalie. That's all we want from you. And help other people put the puck behind the goalie, and the rest of it we'll figure out.
Yeah, if they changed his responsibilities to let your other line mates worry about playing, hard-nosed defense or whatnot, like, yeah, don't be lazy defensively, but we're not expecting you to be a 200-foot player. Put him on the wing and say your job is to create as much offense as possible. Don't worry about being the a sulky winner or anything like that. You got it. You're running thin on things to try, but I think that's got to be something to try. Is just try and change his mindset. Just we talk about it with like in this city with like Justin Fields and everything. Like simplify the game, let his instincts and his skills take over. With Reichel, I feel like it's the same thing. Like simplify the game and say just go out there and be an offensive creator. Get the puck on your stick and focus on what you do in the offensive zone and let his instinct and his skill take over. And if it's not there, if you give him that simple of an assignment and just say just focus on being the offensive Lukas Reichel and it's not there, then you have a concern. Then you say maybe something's not connecting that we've hoped was there but isn't there.
Yeah. Philip and Windy City Hockey and a couple others in the chat saying if this doesn't work, is going back to Rockford an option? I think it is an option.
It is.
It's something they have to consider.
It is, but then it's like, you wonder about the players' mentality. Being told like you're an NHL player midway through the season, he's in Rockford.
Well, that it's his fault.
Sure, yeah. If the play isn't there, that's one thing. But I mean, I don't know. It's contract year as an RFA, looking to get his second deal. I getting the chance to start the season in the NHL. You'd think all the motivation was there. So I don't know. It's again, you're kind of running short on cards to play with him.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
The Blackhawks are 30th in the league in goals scored, 2.5 goals a game. Part of that is because Lukas Reichel's not scoring.
Yes.
He was looked to be one of your top 2 or 3 offensive production guys this year. It was Bedard, Taylor Hall, and Lukas Reichel. Well, Taylor Hall, we know him, hurt.
Yeah.
Barely played this year. Done for the year. Not an option anymore. Lukas Reichel, 2 goals in 22 games, whatever it is. That's just not good enough. So, Rockford may be an option. I mean, this is the year to just let them try and work it out. Listen, the Hawks are tied with the San Jose Sharks, who had one of the worst starts in history, for the fewest points in the league. So there's obviously no pressure to win right now. So this is the season to do it. Like, hopefully this scratch, sometimes lots of guys say, hey, watching a game or two from up top changed my perspective. I think you can't, knock Reichel for, he as you mentioned, he's doing a lot of the right things out there, but he's not doing the right things for his game.
Yeah.
So, hopefully this, watching today, maybe, another game or 2 off, get him recharged. I mean, the kid just needs a 5-on-5 goal. But he's got to shoot the damn puck to get that 5-on-5 goal.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of times he gets in and, passes right away, but then veers off to the outside instead
There's
of
a
going
lot of
right to
fading
the
out,
net.
yeah.
Just go to the net, take a couple bruises, score that goal, and see that's probably going to lift a giant pressure off of
think,
him to get
too,
that first 5-on-5. He's got 2 power play goals. One was a redirect. The other one was a nice play. I don't know, but I'm not ready to declare him a bust. I'm not ready to say this guy.
No.
I might have been Lebowski that asked earlier, would you be disappointed if he turns out to be a Chris Versteeg third-line scorer? No, I wouldn't be disappointed in that. Not at all, because that means you've got other guys coming in like Oliver Moore and Frank Nazar who are taking that second top 6 spots.
Ideally.
I mean, if that's because he's your, I'm fine with that. I mean, listen, that's much better than what we've gotten so far.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's, and you mentioned, going to the hard areas and taking a hit. You saw Bedard very early this season take that first hit and survive it. And I think that has made him a little more brave to go to the front of the net. He's not afraid.
Yeah.
He knows he can take a hit and survive a hit, and he's going to get him as part of his game. And if he wants to score goals, he's going to have to take some hits. And I don't recall, Reichel really getting hit hard because, like you said, anytime there's any sort of defenseman in his face, he'll sort of peel away or dish the puck off. He is not someone who plays in the middle of the ice. And here's the thing, too, is are we, and are the Hawks, more importantly, trying to make him something he's not? Because, yes, you would love all of your players to be 200-foot Marian Hossa, Jonathan Toews type players. Some guys just don't have that in their DNA. And what a good development team and a good coaching staff will do is say, what is it that you're good at, and we're going to make it work. Mm-hmm. We're going to take the best of you and get the best out of you. And that's what they need to figure out with Reichel, because he's just not a defensive forward. He's not. It doesn't mean he has to be standing at the opposite blue line waiting for a pass, but to try to make him more than he is, I don't think is realistic at this point. Like I said, you just have to find a way to get him producing.
Yeah, the two examples of players who I think could potentially be, models of player development that we and the Blackhawks are going to see this weekend. Saw one last night, going to see one today. Cole Perfetti and Marco Rossi.
Yeah.
Those are guys that were first-round picks. Those are guys that took some time through the minors. Now they've gotten to the NHL level, and it's taken a little bit of time at the NHL level, but they've started producing. My hope is that can be something of a path that Reichel's taken. He's done it at the AHL level. Now he's in the NHL, and you want him to produce at the NHL level, and it's not happening right away. Hopefully something can be figured out so that the game at the NHL level for him can be processed and he can find his game within it in the style of player that he is, and be able to, create offensively. If his ceiling is third line option as a scorer, stick handler, so be it. But there's going to have to be more around him in the future to make that okay. You know?
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Greg, like, could you live with him being Chris Versteeg? Yes. Is that less than everyone expected from him? Yes. But I think at this point, like, you're kind of
better than what we have now.
It's like what we said going, like, would you trade the opportunity to draft Bedard if it guaranteed you number 2? We were having that conversation last year. Like, at this point, will you take Lukas Reichel as Chris Versteeg if it ensures that he's not nothing?
Right.
Yes,
Absolutely,
you would do that
you
at this point because there's been some evidence that maybe he's not as what we thought he was. But I keep going back to last season, and he looks so much better and so much different.
I would definitely take Reichel being closer to Chris Versteeg than being closer to Dylan Sekura.
Yeah.
It's true. Mark W. has a good comment. Maybe Reichel Kurashev 2 years ago. Maybe. Kurashev was never the offensive producer in Rockford that
he also had injuries always. He would play really good for like a week, and then he'd have an injury.
Yeah, but
then
I
he'd
mean,
come back
it's
and,
taken Kurashev a long time to get that consistent game, and it also helps that he's finally like, you're a top 6 forward, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Part of Kurashev's problem was they didn't know where to play him. I mean, Derek King even told us, like, I kind of screwed that one up. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't. That's on me. I had him on the 4th line, and that's not a 4th liner. So, getting a spot, a permanent spot helps. And Lukas Reichel's had a permanent spot this year. So, let's just. This is the right move today. To let him sit. It was the right move to send Wyatt Kaiser back to the Ice Hogs. So, like,
Not Phillips.
they're doing.
Just saying.
I don't disagree, but when Louis Crevier today has like the game of the century, you may be like, "Oh God, I love this guy. I love the 13-foot defensive pairing we've got going on there."
Yeah, it worked in Buffalo.
I think
Vancouver yesterday.
Yeah, and I think with we could talk about the lineup changes in full, but this is also an opportunity that if we see this team without Lukas Reichel, see how it functions, how it operates, and if someone's in the lineup today that plays really well, that is taking his spot, like if Cole Guttman comes back in, has a really solid game, or I don't know. I think it's a possibility to kind of reignite the fire that Reichel might need to get his game going in the different direction. Because maybe the opposite of what you wanted to come from being like, you're an NHL player, go out and prove it. Maybe he was just like, oh well, I'm an NHL player. Like, I don't know. Maybe he just got comfortable with it, and the play didn't ramp up like you would hope.
I've been thinking about that too. Like, is he just comfortable? And I don't know. Like, I'm not.
He doesn't
it's so hard to watch a game from either the press box or the TV and go, that guy's trying and that guy's not. It's really hard to say that.
Right.
But I will say, like, at no point have I looked at Reichel and been like, he's passive. He's not, or passive, maybe a little passive, but I'm saying he's
coasting.
He's not coasting. He's not engaged.
Yeah.
And like I said, the fact that he's being where he's supposed to be, but he's just not engaging physically in those situations, to me it feels more mental than, it's more up here than in here in the heart.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. His biggest enemy right now is between his ears.
Yeah, I agree. So here are the line changes for today. We have the top line left to right: Foligno, Bedard, Kurashev, Tyler Johnson, Guttman, Radish, Entwistle, Dickinson, Anderson, Kachuk, Donato, Reese Johnson, and your mix up on a D pairs here: Korchinski up with Seth Jones, Jared Tenorti, and Connor Murphy with a blazing fast defensive pair, and Alex Vlasic and Louis Crevier. Get ready for 14 feet of D.
I love that. I freaking love that. I think that's a movie.
Miles of D.
That's another movie I saw once.
And Mrazek's in goal. So there you go. There is your lineup for the game. We've got a super chat here from Edward. I feel Kurashev is going to be an important part of this team, even when the Hawks become contenders. That's $10 from Edward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, because we had these similar questions about Kurashev. What's his role in the team? What's he going to be? Is he going to be a Marcus Kruger? Is he going to be Chris Versteeg? All these similar examples. So yeah, I think the way he's played this year, the chemistry he's got going with Bedard, that always helps for your future spot with the organization. But yeah, he's definitely working his way into that picture.
Lukas Reichel's burner, Anton Dmitriev, says, "Hello, Reichel, the best player."
Hello, Lucas.
Hey, Lucas.
Thanks for checking in, buddy.
Enjoy the popcorn, man. If Mark Bergevin's up there, avoid the gummy bears. All right. No, look, I like we said, I think we all
it's Swedish fish.
we all yeah, there you go. We all believe that Reichel will be a good NHL player. It's just a matter of when and to what extent. And the Kurashev thing, as good as he's been, I still don't really know what he is. I still don't know what he is when Connor Bedard is 4 years in and he's putting up 120 points a year, and hopefully Lukas Reichel's turned a corner, and Del Mastro and Allen and everyone's here. What is Philip Kurashev? I still don't have the answer.
Kurashev is one of those guys that from the Dynasty Hawks that just not the star, but fills a role and will score big goals for you.
He's Chris Versteeg.
But can he rap?
If he's
I hope not.
If Kurashev is like a little bit more impactful Michael Frolik from the cup runs, if that's his role, like second line, third line can play in that role when everybody is here. If everything goes according to plan and you have a contending team with Bedard and Nazar and Moore and all these guys involved, if Kurashev can be in that kind of role, I think that would be wonderful. And if it's anything more than that, then it's gravy.
I'm looking forward to Korchinski and Jones together too. I didn't love Korchinski with Murphy.
It kind of seemed like Murphy. Okay, as much as we have talked about Murphy as like he's a nice guy, he's good in the locker room, he's got the leadership skills, he's not afraid to be physical, put his body on the line. That's all well and good, but active defensively, he's kind of been really bad.
He's not been good this year. Fell down on that second goal.
Yeah, and
he gets beat wide all night long.
It kind of feels like he was actually. He might be hindering Korchinski. So putting Korchinski and Jones together, the defensive aspect of that pair is not wonderful, but I think it might just be more conducive to getting the most out of Korchinski that you can.
Yeah, look, when you're Murphy, how old is he now? 20?
30?
He's right at that area.
29?
And he's a guy that's dealt with back problems, and that's never a good thing.
Yes, an injury, a history of back problems without a massively elite skill set anyway. Father time is going to come for you more
30.
quickly than it will come for Seth Jones.
He will be 31 in March, so he'll be 31 at the end of the year.
So this is the part where you could probably start to expect a bit of a decline from Connor Murphy. And let's be fair to him, he has been paired with a child most of the season. And even though the children look good most nights, there are things that we are not seeing that the coaches are and that the veteran defensemen are.
And he's trying to make up for a lot of it, yeah.
Yeah. So in fairness to him and to the other veterans, to be fair, I do think that is a factor, but he has been significantly worse than we've ever seen him as a Hawk this year.
Yeah, I'd like to think today's game, even though they took the second rush of the defensive pair, I'd like to think Tenorti Murphy is played as a third pair, and you give Vlasic and Crevier maybe some more minutes. I mean, Crevier is making his NHL debut. You don't want to throw him into the fire, but I don't think giving Murphy and Tenorti more minutes together over Vlasic is a great idea, but I'm not Luke Richardson.
I liked what we saw from Crevier in the preseason, too.
I
thought
have a feeling those defensive pairings will not be the defensive pairings at the end of the game.
Sure.
You might see some mixing up.
Sure, they'll probably change.
You might be like,
yeah.
We might need some speed on that second defensive pairing.
Yeah.
Before we go, we need to tell the people who our Hawks are.
Yes,
we do.
Let's do it. I pick first because I have not won in a long time. I'm sticking with the Dick theme, going with Jason Dickinson. He's just been so good for the Hawks recently. And, can't pick Bedard because I picked him earlier this week. So I'm taking.
No, you can't pick them back to back.
Well, that's right. I'll take him anyway.
Oh well.
Not too late now.
I Galaxy brained it yesterday. Tried to take Jason Dickinson, and he was according to the Blue Lines, the worst Hawk of the game.
He's due.
So I'm going with Connor Bedard, not a Galaxy brain pick.
I'm going to go with Seth Jones because anytime someone picks Seth Jones, they win, and I want to win 3 in a row. Damn it! I want second place, all of myself.
We'll see.
You can do it. I have faith in you. All right, we'll talk to you after the game. Thanks for being with us here. If you've not done it already, please smash that like button on your way out. We'll talk to you postgame on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.